just thought I'd record this for whatever reason. Um, this is from Auqua. I don't know if anybody is familiar with this company, but I bought this unit from them because well, the story is that this is a hydrogen system, and with this system you do not have to have any kind of oxygen sensor manipulators or any sensor manipulator for that matter. This has honestly not worked from the very beginning. This is the other part of it. I have basically torn this apart to clean it, as it's been backed up for quite some time with, I really don't know with what. But I was taking this thing apart, trying to get it all clean, and I don't know if you guys' units are exactly the same, but you have this little plastic piece here. This is the sensor, I should say the vacuum sensor that sits in there. If I can get it in there we go. So it sits in there like that. So, anyway, I thought, well, I'm going to clean everything out, so I got to pull everything apart, you know. And as I'm pulling everything apart, there's this is completely blocked, right? And it's got a little piece of glue over top of it to keep it sealed. Which, okay, yeah, whatever. But then I pull this out. I don't know if you guys can make out what this is, but this, to me, looks like crumpled up, I don't know, gum wrapper. That's literally what this is. I mean, look at this. Trying to zoom it in here. Come on. Alright, you can see that. Crumpled up like tin foil. And I realized I paid $800 to get this system. And this is the kind of garbage that they're selling me. I just want you guys to be aware of that. I mean, that's what they use on this thing. Just kind of makeshift garbage. And the inside of this thing. It's all it is inside of here is a coil of the white you can see. Rubber looking things is what they put between each each coil of metal, and it's just a spiral. And what is supposed to happen is the water spits through this really fast, and it's supposed to make hydrogen. Obviously this thing is extremely dirty, but that's the theory. Water shoots in one side in a fine mist, and it beforehand has been cracked, and that is due to them, it's forced through the bottom here. And if you can't tell, but there's actually a syringe needle at the inside of this thing. Anyway, you can pop this thing off. I have popped this thing off before, and if you look inside of there, there's literally a syringe needle, like you would get an injection at the doctor's. That same needle, they chopped the very tip of it off. They shoved it down in here, and it shoots water right through, and it almost it shoots it into like a mist. And I'm assuming that is what they have. That's how they get the water to crack. And then from there it shoots out and it goes through this and it turns into hydrogen. At least that is the theory. But seriously, I mean, I guess, do what you got to do to make something work, but that needle in there is literally the end of a syringe. I thought for certain they would have had something a little more sophisticated for $800. And this thing's all seized up. You can see I've been digging at it, trying to get this thing to rotate, and that's all junk. This thing, I have no idea what that thing is for. If you look down in here, I mean, you have an air passageway that flows straight through. And if this thing is turned, where this little dial is pointing straight up, you can actually see all the way through this thing. but it's dialed down, so the air passageway kind of comes over, comes down like this, and then comes right back up in like a V. So, and that's just that adjusts how much water is sucked into the chamber. Right now, if I remember this right, it's at full throttle. So, but I'm just, if anyone's ever bought one of these things, I just want you to know what you're getting for $800. Not much. I gotta tell you, not much. For a piece of hunk of aluminum that someone else could have drilled out themselves, they call this high tech, In God we trust. I mean, okay. I don't know. Maybe this works for someone. With 5 vehicles, this has never worked for me. 5 vehicles. And the last vehicle I tested this on was a Subaru Baja. So I've tested this thing out on a 2000 Toyota Camry. I've tested it out on let's see here, the Subaru. I guess those are the only 2 vehicles this specific unit has been on. But that has taken place over 3 years I have had this thing. No success whatsoever. And I have done everything they have told me to do. Everything from changing your spark plugs to a hotter burning spark plug, like your copper spark plugs. Buying a whole new exhaust system. Maybe my what's his face said your cats might be bad. I changed out cat converters. I mean, nothing has worked. I don't know how this stupid thing has been working with anybody else's vehicles. And honestly, if you have one of these, comment below. And I would like to know what your story is, but I have never been able to get this thing to work, regardless of what I've done. Regardless. So